Morning. So my most recent read is a book called A Tour to Die For by Chouinard. The main character, Capri, runs a small business in San Francisco which specializes in giving serial killer tours. Basically, she and her compatriots take people on various tours around the city to introduce them to the sites of famous historical crimes. And she also throws in different anecdotes related to San Francisco's shadier history, I guess. They also run a true crime podcast. Capri began her interest in crime in general because her grandfather was accused of being a serial killer, and she heard a lot about this when she was growing up and developed a keen interest in finding out the truth, which was why she ended up pursuing a degree in journalism and investigating, I guess, what really happened regarding that particular case. And her findings from that case have put her in the spotlight of true crime aficionados, I guess, because she's also putting together a book based on her investigations, slightly against her will, since it wasn't really part of her plan, but her fellow podcasters are encouraging her to do it. But anyways, as one can imagine, a tour like hers tends to attract people who are really, really interested in true crime. And while on one of these tours, one of her guests claims to see a woman being attacked. Only when they call the police to investigate, they find that not only does the apartment where she claims she saw the assault happen seem pretty undisturbed, no one is in fact there at all. It's completely deserted, and the police don't believe that the woman actually saw anything. But Capri herself is not so sure. She on the one hand, there's always the possibility that this tourist person is lying to her, but on the other hand, if someone is in danger, then she doesn't want to be, the person who didn't follow up on something like that. So she begins to investigate, and lo and behold, she turns up with a body, only the body's time of death does not appear to actually match the time of the crime, according to the witness account. But anyways, this begins a whole series of investigations as both Capri and the police, namely her boyfriend, who's a detective in the homicide department, begin to look into what happened related to this murder. So let's see. Something that I liked. I told Elena that, the writing style, an energetic tone of it was one reason I liked this story, but I seem to use that reason a lot, so I'm going to pick something else for the this time. Stylistically, the story is sprinkled through with anecdotes about San Francisco's history, not just the some of the crimes that have happened, but also some of the more, I guess I hesitate to call it lifestyle things, but things that happened historically. So it was talking about this one area where I guess the city is actually built over the remains of ships that weren't able to leave the bay because they would lose their crews when they sailed into San Francisco. So a lot of these little things about the city's history, having that throughout the novel, I thought was pretty interesting. I kind of wish there was actually more of it. So let's see. And I think as far as the criminal elements go, the cases it talks about all happened long enough ago that it didn't necessarily really bother me. And I don't actually know if they're true crime cases or not, and I'm not going to go find out, since true crime's one category that I personally avoid like the plague. But anyways, let's see. Something I did not like. I think there were just these little things about the story that kind of bothered me a little bit, but are a little hard to articulate. The main thing was, I think, this line between what it means to be a investigative journalist and what it means for podcasters these days, who sometimes are not so respectful, I guess, of people's lives and spaces for the sake of content. And I'm not really sure this story does a good job at addressing this distinction. Like the main character and the people around her mostly want to present this argument of her nosing into this crime as being a journalist and helping people find the truth, but at the same time, like, she doesn't actually have a journalist license. Like, no one's, I mean, it's not like the police and stuff aren't looking into the case. So I think it's a little bit of a fine line between when she's actually doing something good and helpful and when her nosiness just kind of makes things worse. And I'm not really sure which category I think her actions in this particular story fall into. Like, it kind of helps that the family wanted her to investigate and that she did have a degree in this, but I also know that there are a lot of people who will basically hound like people involved in these crimes and stuff, irrespective of their personal lives and preferences, for the sake of getting more people to follow their podcast. So yeah, I think I just kind of wish it talked more about some of these topics and presented more points of view instead of just having a lot of the characters around her offering like justifications, I guess, for her actions.